All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. We're gonna see if it has BSS for its local high intent keyword search and its city high intent keyword search. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. If you want more info on that, yeah, somewhere, pin post, pin video on the profile. And it's our North Star because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent ladder, the intent spectrum. High intent here on the left, to low intent way over on the right. Here we talk about the highest intent peeps, Google search, social media search, searching right now for a boudoir photo shoot in our city. That's where we talk about BSS. All the way at the other end, those are interruption ads like Facebook, Instagram. It's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And right now over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So we're focusing on the two intent extremes right now. So here we're talking about BSS, which is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means if we're not on page 1, we basically don't exist. We're on page 2 or deeper. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So that's the bulk of the market, that's most of the market. And if they have 0, basically if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're basically invisible and we're going downhill pretty fast. 1 slot on page 1, Google is not good enough either, because every other boudoir photographer on there is also going to have most likely 1 slot. So, if there's 10 organic slots per Google, search page, the a buyer is just going to be clicking on everyone's website, contacting everyone, price shopping us against literally everyone, and as a result, we're actually going to we're actually going to not stand out, be price shopped. People probably go to the lowest bid, all things like that. So boudoir search sameness, no bueno. We also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal to have such few number of slots for ourselves on page 1 of Google. Extremely common, but not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and another one, basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first, market saturation, that's someone getting a new iPhone, then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. Now they got a website saying they shoot boudoir, saturating the market. Or someone gets a new camera, now they're posting the mom groups saying that for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more sellers to the same number of buyers, driving down the price for everyone. And usually this results in other boudoir photographers kind of getting kicked out of the market, going bankrupt, closing down shop. Now, basically everyone knows that, and also a big thing that happened with that was COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, still to earn money, became boudoir photographers because everyone's got a great camera on their phone, on their cell phone. And so that was another, supply shock, seller shock. Way more sellers to the same number of buyers. It was when COVID happened. Now the not currently very known false belief of page 1 equality. That belief is that kind of every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe we had our website ranked on page 1 of Google, but then more boudoir photographers came in, kicked us down to page 2, and like, oh, that's simply that's simply how it is. Kind of just we simply gotta take what Google gives us. Hopefully that other person closes down and deletes their website so Google can maybe pull us back onto page 1. But it's kind of out of our hands. That's the belief of page 1 equality, whereas every boudoir photographer gets, either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and that's simply how it is. But that's a false belief. I know that's a false belief because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 search in 10 days. Why? Because I knew page 1 equality is a false belief, And my hypothesis was Google would give me as many slots as I want, page one slots as I wanted to put in the effort to acquire for whichever keywords I want to put in the effort to acquire them from. So that's exactly what I did, which we'll see those results in, whatever, 2 or 3 more pictures. So page one equality, false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so having either 0 or 1 slots page one of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because look, if you got 0 slots on page one, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches do not go past page one. So we're invisible to 80% of the marketplace. So yeah, we're definitely disappearing. For 1 slot on page one, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're price shopped to death. We're disappearing as well. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine, where BSS causes disappearing boudoir photographers, and basically all disappearing boudoir photographers also have BSS, what kind of is foreshadowing for the eventual disappearance of the entire boudoir photography business. So it's the canary in the coal mine. So we got to solve first. We got to stop the bleeding here. And luckily we have a solution, because we now have learned through extensive testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation. This is our S-cubed methodology. We invented it. You cannot get this solution from anybody else. And social search saturation is exactly what it says. We saturate social search with the highest intent search terms to show up there and kick everyone else out. These are kind of like, the smaller rivers that feed into the Amazon. And kind of when we do that successfully, that flows down into the Amazon, flows onto Google. And many times Google will start giving us more and more page one slots for those more and more keywords we're ranking for in social search. That's why it's called social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We want to be saturating social search at all times, because if we're not, someone else in our city probably is. If nobody is, then we got the first mover advantage to do it. So S-cubed methodology, the other magical thing about this is the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and essentially render it, null and void. Because imagine we're in Miami, Florida. Let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website for their boudoir photography business. They're ranking it. They're competing for page one Google search. But let's say we take S-cubed methodology to the max. We rank for the first, 300 slots for the highest intent search terms for boudoir in our city across all the major social media platforms. So we saturate social search. We're there. Can't find anyone until slot 301 and after. As a result, we're saturating the first 300 slots on Google as well. Well, each page on Google is 10 organic slots, and so that's 30 pages. You gotta go basically any buyer's gotta go page 31 to find any of our 999,999 competitors, because we cranked S-cubed methodology up to the maximum. So, whose business is growing? Ours. Whose business is growing the fastest in the city? Ours, because buyers can essentially really only find us, because we're everywhere they look. Basically, we're gonna kick out, box out all the other competitors, and we already know, approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page one, so they definitely ain't going to page 31. So this is what S-cubed methodology enables us to do for all those who want to put in the effort to achieve it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. We're finally visible on page one, even though if we had 1 slot there, we're not actually visible there because we look the same as everyone else. We get an added bonus to this where we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. They get kicked out to page 2 or deeper. And again, we know approximately 80% of boudoir photographers, or approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means page 2 and deeper is invisible, disappearing boudoir photographer, canary in the coal mine. Eventually, the boudoir photography business will disappear. So we achieve page 1 visibility once we overcome market saturation and page 1. We crash through the false belief of page 1 equality. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So here we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for local search and city search. Because when we're at 3 out of 10 slots, I mean, we've kicked off at least 2 to 3 other competitors from page 1. Also, compared to everyone that has 1 slot on page 1, we got 3. People are going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so much? They're going to auto trust us more. And the very rare chance someone else has 2 slots on page 1, well, we're at 3, and so we're always beating them. So it activates Boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and page 1 equality. We now have a solution now, S-cubed methodology. And as a result, we achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results I got using this. So I was using this, I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And I use S-cube methodology. That's exactly what I did. And what I actually did was, here, organic, we started spot 1. We got organic slot 1. We got organic 2. We got organic. So slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days. And this is through utilizing S-cubed methodology that we invented, that cannot get this from anyone else. We invented it, we created it. And so this is the power of S-cubed methodology. Now we got the main event here. You can see this boudoir photography business has BSS for its local search, Aliso Viejo, California, or its city search, This one I actually made pretty broad, OC, Orange County, California. So let's check that out. All right, so Aliso Viejo, California. All right, let's go to the organics. Boom, we got organic 1. Ooh, nice. We got organic 2, or we got second slot there, slot number 3. So we got 2 out of 10. Boom, we got 3 out of 10 with the Yelp. 4, Event Detective. I'll take that. 5, MapQuest. All right, awesome. Perfect, dude. 5 out of 10. Dude, anything three's the minimum we want to hit. So good. We do not have BSS for local. That's a default. We should never be. Dude, we should be dominating local. Every boudoir photographer can dominate their local search. So 5 out of 10. So we do not have BSS, and we hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. And guess what? The more slots we take up on page 1 on Google, the more competitors we kick off, the more people who want to buy from us will never even find our competitors, because approximately 80% of all Google searches are page 1 only. They never even go to page 2. So boom, that's local. Let's check out larger. Now, technically this is not city, this is county, OC Orange County, but there was no big city. I mean, I could have done Anaheim, but they were too far away from Anaheim. So let's see. All right, we're looking. All right, here we go. Got 1. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. So we do have BSS for the larger city search, or in this case, the county search. So we'll treat this as the quasi-city search. So we do have BSS for the city search, and we are not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 for the city search. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you got BS boudoir search sameness. So you're at 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google for local search and city search, or even you haven't reached a 3 out of 10 GBC minimum, recommended minimum. And you now understand page 1 equality was a false belief. And you're like, oh yeah, now that I think about it, actually it doesn't make sense. We can have as many slots on page 1 as we want, as we'll put in the effort for. And you understand market saturation. People buy new iPhones, become boudoir photographers, new cameras become new boudoir photographers. But now there's a special third option, which is AI taking more and more people's job every single day. Which means there's going to be more and more people entering the market, no job, becoming boudoir photographers because they already got the iPhone as a camera, throwing up their website, turning off their Google My Business profile, posting in the mom groups, and actually, potentially pushing us off page one. So you're going to see that more and more. And you're seeing SQ methodologies, the only thing out there that we can see that actually effectively renders market saturation not a non-issue if we successfully use SQ methodology. And you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic page one slots on Google, because that's a result of saturating social search on all the search platforms already. That's simply the outcome. You want boudoir search visibility. And you also understand kind of the back-end bonuses of using SQ methodology, which is kind of the more thematic theme keyword columns we attach to our brand, kind of our usernames across social. The increased probability A, we show up here in AI search overview or AI overview, because we're getting these thematic keyword columns all built around us. And AI knows it because of it's pulling everything from social search, from Google. And so you want that higher chance of being here in the AI overview, kind of like the first main recommendation. It's kind of a bonus of using SQ methodology. And then the second bonus is you actually want the higher chance of showing up recommended for AI search, ChatGPT search, Claude search, and Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, people using AI search, which I haven't done in Google search, actually click and read a link in like a year. It's been all AI search. I'll use the Google AI mode feature. And so you're seeing all that. You want to achieve all that with SQ methodology. And you also know you want to be a first mover with this in your city, because you know that the more momentum, kind of the earlier you start, A, you'll give me exclusive leads for the city. B, kind of the thematic keyword columns that we'd start creating, these have momentum. It's not like ads where you just stop spending and they vanish. You lose your one slot Google, your Google keyword slot. Who cares about that if we can hit 6, 7, 8 out of 10 page one Google slots for the highest intent keywords? But we're actually building momentum in the background, because what we do to saturate social is kind of our strategy persists. It still exists even when no ad spend's being put behind it. So we're kind of building these thematic keyword columns in the background, higher chance we get recommended AI search. And you want to build these columns, kind of invisible thematic keyword columns, before all your competitors start to do it, because that will entrench you page one on Google, and maybe also bleed over into page two domination on Google and all search, all social platforms, and kind of prevent any new boudoir photographers coming into the market from ever ranking on page one, and also prevent them from ever catching up to all these thematic keyword columns you have attached to you that cause you to be recommended in AI search. And you also recognize if someone else starts using SQ methodology with me first, you would then have to figure out how to recreate our proprietary methodology, and then you'd have to equal our output doing it correctly to even keep pace with us and our competitor we're working with, and your competitor we're working with. And then you'd actually have to outwork us to overtake our momentum we've already been building up invisible momentum with your competitor. So if you want all those outcomes, then shoot me a DM when the hospital opens for new patient intake. So hospital's closed right now, not taking any new patients. No matter what you do, you can work with me. I will open new patient intake when I want to open new patient intake. And so if you want all these benefits, SQ methodology is the solution for you. Shoot us a DM when we do open for new patient intake, and we will see. I'll ask you some questions. We will see if you qualify.